What's going on YouTube? So if you're a longtime viewer of this channel, you might remember that we used to have a long-term Hyundai Sonata. And now it's finally our turn to get behind the wheel of this refreshed 2024 model for a full 7-day test. So with big exterior changes, big interior changes, and new all-wheel drive, is this ready to fully take on Accord and Camry? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's get things started here with our spec dump. So under the hood of this refreshed Sonata, you're gonna find a little bit of a simpler powertrain arrangement. You still have 3 options though. This is the hybrid variant. This is made from a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine plus electric componentry for a total system output of 191 horsepower. You do have a 6-speed automatic transmission paired with this, and for the first time you can now get available all-wheel drive on the Sonata, but only the traditional gas and SEL trim level. As far as this hybrid's fuel economy, you're coming in at 47 miles per gallon.
Now, of course, we've lived with this vehicle for the past 7 days, so we're going to be discussing our real-world fuel economy in the test drive. While we're on that drive, we're going to be also getting things like our signature sound level reading, so you'll want to stay tuned for that, as well as our new resale value and reliability section after that.
But there are such big changes to the exterior and interior of this vehicle, it really almost looks like an all-new product. So let's go ahead and get into that. So when Hyundai sent us this, we thought they might be trying to give us buyer's remorse, because this, of course, is a direct competitor to our Toyota Camry. So that's kind of looming over there in the background. That's our new long-term vehicle. But like we said, we used to have a Sonata inline actually for about 3 years, and it was in this same exact color. This is shimmering silver. But as far as the overall exterior look, you really almost couldn't tell that they were related to each other. This seems like a new generation of product because this front end design, completely different. So previously we had what people called the catfish grille. That was a little bit more angular than this. Now we have more of a rounded off appearance. It's going to be black across most of the trim levels as well, and will look more aggressive on the inline. Now in terms of the lighting, that's also changed dramatically as well. Of course, first and foremost, we've got this large light bar that goes all the way across the top of the vehicle. This side is going to be or serve as the daytime running light and the turn signal indicator. And then down below in a separate housing, we have standard projector LED headlights. That's a very nice touch to see. And as far as the trim structure, it has also been vastly simplified for this 2024 model year. Now, as far as the rear design is concerned, you're also going to see some pretty substantial updates back here as well.
Yeah, most of those updates are with the taillight design overall. So they've kind of added like this mesh, almost like a race flag design in the taillight itself. And Drew's hopping inside to see if all of the taillight elements are LED. So we have an LED brake light portion, incandescent reverse light, so I am a little disappointed by that, but we do have an LED turn signal. So 2 out of 3 elements are LED here on the limited Sonata. As we drop down to this lower area, you will notice that we have no exposed exhaust outlets. That's of course not available on this top end model. However, you can get exposed exhaust if you choose the inline, which is going to get you quad exhaust outlets.
Now, one of the ways that Hyundai simplified the trim lineup was the fact that they made the limited trim now hybrid exclusive. That means you're going to get these 17-inch alloy wheels with kind of a special aero cover. Obviously, the smaller size and this design is going to be helping with the overall efficiency. And if you want larger wheel options, you will have to choose the gas-powered models, such as the inline, which is going to have the biggest size at 19 inches. Now, as we rise above here, your top 2 trims are going to get this new LED turn signal indicator built into the fender, kind of like a Genesis product. And as far as our mirrors are concerned, heating and blind spot monitoring are both going to be standard equipment.
Now here at the side of the Sonata, we come in at an overall vehicle length of about 193 inches long. And in terms of design, I do want to point out you're not going to be able to get cool things like a 2-tone roof like you see we selected on our Camry on this model. It's just going to be the 1-tone paint scheme. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, I'm happy to tell you that you do have all 4 active safety features as standard equipment on all Sonatas this year. The only caveat to that is you have to opt for the inline or the limited if you want highway drive assist. Let's go ahead and check out the very luxurious cabin though. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
and we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's go ahead and check out the interior. Before we do though, we'll take a look at the key fob. This has been updated to the newest Hyundai key fob, which has this very unique design to it. Of course, you do have smart entry as well as remote start on the SEL with convenience package and above, so the majority of the trims. Also, this Limited comes with the smart park system, so you can pull into and out of those tight parking spots remotely. Now, walking up to the vehicle, just reach behind the handle. That's going to unlock the door. And as we take a look inside the interior, very similar thing happened inside the cabin as with the outside of the vehicle. And that's the fact that Hyundai changed quite a lot of things, almost to make it look like an all-new product. So starting out though with our seats, the base model will come with cloth seats. However, your other options are going to come with either a leather or a unique sport seat in the case of the inline. This being the Limited, of course, is going to have that genuine leather. We have nice stitching details throughout, perforation through the center section as well. And in terms of the seat functionality, we do have a 10-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar support. We also have memory seats as well here on the Limited trim. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now that we're fully inside the cabin, let's look at the rest of the material. So, especially with the Limited, this is a really nicely finished cabin. So, you're going to find leatherette covering the entire armrest through the center section as well. We have soft touch plastic up here. As we move to the upper dash, surprisingly, almost the entire thing is going to be finished in a leatherette with a stitching detail. Also, this Limited trim comes with a looks like maybe a faux bamboo trim. It's relatively realistic looking, and I do like the light color of it to brighten the overall cabin aesthetic. Down here, we actually don't have any padding though along the console. But let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start. And let's go ahead and dive in right off the bat here with some big tech improvements. So obviously, you might notice we've got this new dual screen arrangement. We won't really talk about that screen yet, but let's zero in on our gauge cluster specifically. So you're gonna notice that we've got a full digital cluster now, and it's gonna be inside of that dual screen arrangement. It has all the typical things that Hyundais usually have, especially here on the loaded one. A lot of people love that blind spot camera system with the Limited. We also have a head-up display as well on the Limited trim level, and you can reconfigure the design itself as well. As we pull back, you'll go past rain sensing wipers, and we'll come to a brand new steering wheel as well. So this is the latest model, which actually does not even have the H logo on it. It also has kind of an interesting shape where it's a little squared off on the sides and also round. And then as far as the wheel itself, it is manual tilt and telescoping. We do have steering wheel heating. Now let's turn over here to interior storage and start with our console. Inside, we have stuffed donut. That's because this is Car Confections after all. We want to test the volume of the center console with donuts. And in this case, we can fit 10 donuts inside of this console. That is a very respectable number, certainly for a mid-size sedan. As we kind of move forward, we've got a little spot to stick our arm, 2 cup holders off to the side of that, another slot, and then a big storage cubby up here. This side is also going to be a wireless phone charging pad on the vast majority of models, I believe all but the base model, and you have your additional USB-C connections above that. Now you'll notice what we don't have down here is a shifter. That's because Hyundai has moved it up here to the steering wheel. You might have seen this on some of their most recent products. You're just going to twist up for drive, twist down for reverse. When you go into reverse, the Limited trim is going to give you a 360-degree camera system. So as you can tell, you've got that nice overhead view. The other thing that's really cool is you can go into that view and see a full 3D rendering of the vehicle and spin completely around it. This is something shared with their high-end Genesis products. You also have front and rear parking sensors as well, and just press the end of the stalk for park. You also have an electronic parking brake and brake hold located down there in the center. Next place we come to are our climate controls. Now standard is going to be a dual zone climate system across the entire trim lineup. You have nice knobs here to adjust the temperature. However, all your other functions have kind of moved into a new touchscreen based system. It's very responsive though, although we found during this course of the week that it can get a little washed out by light. Nevertheless, inside of this is where you're going to find your standard 3-stage heated seats on every single new Sonata, and then you also have seat ventilation here with the limited trim level. Now above that, we still have this nice row of physical controls for the audio system. We have the Bose sound system, which has 12 speakers that's included on inline and limited, and we'll go ahead and give it a sample. Yeah, so overall sound quality of the system is pretty good. I don't think they've changed this since when we owned the model. So we're very familiar with this sound system. It is definitely a bass heavy sound system, but it does fill up the cabin really nicely. All right, now as we come up here to our main infotainment display, again, you do have this dual screen arrangement. This is going to be a 12.3-inch display, which is up from the previous largest display of 10.25 inches, and it is standard on every single trim level. The other critical thing I need to demonstrate right from the start is the fact that, as you can see, I'm not connected, but Android Auto is running. That's because we have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay now across the entire lineup, because this is a brand new Hyundai infotainment system. This is the CCNC system. And let me tell you, in this week of using it, very impressed by this. It pairs Android Auto and pulls it up literally in a matter of seconds. This is one of the fastest mainstream infotainment systems that we have used, and it also has built-in navigation on most models. Up top here, we've got a auto dimming mirror. This does not have the HomeLink remotes built into it though. And then at the very top, you can see that we have a panoramic sunroof. What's impressive about this is not that it's available, but that the SEL with convenience package and above comes standard with this panoramic sunroof now.
Let's go ahead and dive into the rear seat area for this refreshed Sonata. Now, as far as the legroom and headroom figures are concerned, they have not changed for the refresh, so we're going to be sitting a little under 35 inches of legroom, a little over 37 inches of headroom. However, after years of owning this vehicle, and obviously we own the new Camry as well, I think it's very competitive legroom and headroom figures to the Camry, even though those measurements are going to be a little bit less. For instance, this seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8" and I'm 5'9", and I still have a very solid 7.5 inches of additional knee room, and my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat. Now let's also talk about features while we're down here. We are going to have vents on your higher end versions of the Sonata. We're additionally going to have 2 USB-C ports, but the features don't end, because you'll notice that we have some really bougie features. One of those is the fact that we have rear window sunshades. No other midsize sedan has rear window sunshades, and that's here on the limited trim level. We're also going to have a nice central armrest with 2 cup holders inside. As you can see, it does fit the Stanley water bottle, which is good because the door storage is going to be a little bit small in the rear of the door trim. So it's going to be pretty much just big enough for a bottle to fit in, and that's it. The materials are nicely done back here as well, though. No heated rear seats are available on any Sonata. Now, walking up to the trunk of the Sonata, you're also going to notice another really bougie feature that's not on any other midsize sedan. That's if we press this button right here, you'll notice that we have a fully power trunk. So yeah, that's power up and power down. So some in this segment will give you, a nicely dampened trunk. So when you open it up, it kind of springs open, but they're not going to give you the down ability. So this is quite nice. That's included on limited trim levels. Now, as far as the space, 16 cubic feet is what we're going to be sitting at for this Sonata. It's a good amount of space. It really ties the largest in the segment, like Honda Accord. As far as the seats themselves, they do fold 60-40 split folding. And if I lift up the floor, you will not find a spare tire. So do keep that in mind. With this hybrid Sonata, at least, you are not going to get the spare tire capability. Now, as far as other things that we do in all of our Car Confections reviews, we get the cargo dimensions. So let's see how far of length we have behind the second row of seats to the rear of the cargo area. Very impressive, about 45 inches, so it's a pretty long trunk. As far as the opening, we're sitting at an impressive 39 inches, and as far as cargo height is concerned, that's going to be sitting at a pretty normal sedan height of 20 inches. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the refreshed Sonata. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, including that real-world fuel economy figure and our official Kentucky sound level reading. But first, we're going to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration to see what this hybrid Sonata is all about.
All right, so that was an acceleration up to 60 miles per hour. Now, like we said at the spec dump, this is the hybrid version of the Sonata. So you do still have 3 different choices. So that's good if you like your choice. I mean, obviously you're being limited in choices when it comes to the Camry, which is hybrid exclusive, the Accord. Half the trims are hybrid exclusive. This here gives you a little bit more choice. And this is the hybrid with a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. It does have your battery electric componentry. Total power is 191 horsepower, which matches the traditional engine option as well.
Yeah, so the standard option is a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Like Drew said, that same 191 horsepower, and that is on the SEL trim level. You do also have the 2.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder. That's in the inline model. That is, of course, very quick. Drew said at the beginning, we used to own a Hyundai Sonata inline. We're very familiar with that vehicle. That makes 290 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. So you have kind of a standard engine option, you have the hybrid system, and you also have the really performance-oriented turbo option.
Right, that inline is going to be a totally different animal versus, what we're driving right now. This is fuel economy focused, but in terms of your acceleration, it is not bad. But it's still also not what I would call quick. And it is behind some of your main rivals. The Accord and Camry both are going to feel faster than this model overall.
Now, you want to point out that if you want the fully loaded limited trim level, like what we have today, the hybrid is the only engine option that you're going to have. And if you want all-wheel drive, like we mentioned at the beginning part, that can only be paired with the base 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. So that's only available on the SEL trim level. So keep that in mind. You are kind of locked into certain trim levels and powertrain choices, but you do have quite a number of choices.
Now you're probably noticing as I accelerate up to speed, there's something pretty uncommon for a hybrid system, and that's the fact that this has a traditional automatic transmission. Most of the competition is going to be using a CVT, and this here does come with a 6-speed automatic transmission. So let's talk a little bit about pros and cons with this. So we've had this, of course, for the whole week, and we have noticed, of course, you get a more traditional feel. A lot of people just prefer having those traditional shift points and not hearing any types of droning when you're under hard acceleration. So that's a win. But do keep in mind, this is a 6-speed automatic transmission, and it's a little on the slow side of things for sure. You can definitely kind of feel the space between the shifts. There's a hesitation, and it just make it feel a little bit sluggish and a little confused sometimes when it's trying to figure out what gear it needs to land in order to, both work with the hybrid componentry and the engine, depending on which one is on or off at the time.
But we're going 55 miles per hour, so let's go ahead and flip it to fan speed 1 and get our signature sound level reading here on our official Kentucky strip of road. 53.3 decibels is what we are sitting at for this Hyundai Sonata limited hybrid, and I have to say, wow, that is a very good sound level reading. I don't have to sit here and guess, though. I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and on our website we posted all of the cars that we review on this channel, which certainly is a lot of midsize sedans as well. So as far as how it compares to the competition, as a matter of fact, this makes it the second quietest midsize sedan we've ever tested. The quietest one is the Kia K5, the 2025 model, and this comes in at the number 2 slot, barely above the Toyota Camry hybrid that we have tested out. It's going to be a few decibel, actually about a decibel quieter than the 2025 Camry that we own. So keep that in mind. And I just have to say, it feels incredibly hushed and quiet. The whole week that we've had it, it just feels very luxurious, and I think that quiet cabin is very much a part of that. I also want to point out the front windows are super thick, and that really just shows you that they've put an emphasis on the luxury experience and the quietness in this cabin. Speaking of luxury experience, I think the ride quality is a great example of that as well. This Hybrid Limited, I mean, oh my goodness, it just soaks up the bumps when you hit them. Since you do have really small 17-inch alloy wheels on the outside, that is definitely a benefit that you're going to get, is really excellent ride quality.
Right, and talking about that, the ride quality is fantastic, but let's talk a little bit about dynamics as well. So one thing I do want to point out is, of course, we are Camry owners, so over the course of the week we were able to drive them actually back to back with each other, and this is certainly going to be the product that skews way more heavily towards luxury, and the Camry is the sportier one of the two. It's very clear as soon as you get in and out of that the Camry is going to be a more balanced product, going to be a little bit more athletic when you take it out on a back road.
However, you do have the inline Sonata that you can still choose, which is definitely going to amp up that performance. And I'm not going to delay the conversation any longer. Let's discuss fuel economy. We're coming in at 47 miles per gallon as the EPA estimate for this Hybrid Limited model. But let's talk about real world fuel economy, what we've been experiencing. So like we said, we've driven this vehicle for the full week. Over the course of that week, we have put well over 100 miles on it, 154 to be exact. And our overall fuel economy figure is 40.2 mpg. Now, I do want to point out that over our 7 days, we weren't like flooring the vehicle. We're just kind of driving very normal, as you would expect in the real world. So I have to say, I'm very disappointed in the fact that it is coming in about 7 mpg behind what the EPA is saying that it should come in at. And we have experienced that on a lot of other Hyundai hybrid systems that we've had back home. The Tucson hybrid, namely, I remember, was one of those vehicles that we were sitting 5, 6, 7 mpg below the EPA estimate. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's what we've been experiencing. Of course, it may vary depending on your driving style or whatnot, but like I said, we didn't drive it hard or anything, and that's what we were sitting at over the 150 miles.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I feel like the engine spends a lot of time off. I've been going up this actually rather steep incline, and the engine stayed off the entire time. So I actually kind of baffles me a little bit that we are underperforming that EPA estimate, because I thought that we were going to end up being right at it, just based on the feel of being behind the wheel.
I will say, though, are you going to talk about the fuel
I was going to talk about the fuel range.
Yeah.
The fuel range is insane. When you put a full tank in this, you have literally 600 miles of range, which is absolutely crazy. We have burned about a quarter tank of gas. And we have 425 more miles. So like, it really does actually give you that much range. It's not exaggerating.
And as a matter of fact, that's actually going to be our airball today, is that fuel economy that we got in the real world. I'm not going to harp on it too much more, but 7 mpg lower than what the EPA is estimating is a little bit disappointing, especially given our normal driving circumstances that we put it through this week. And you know, those wheels, honestly, they're really, I hate those wheels. I'm just gonna be honest, I don't like them at all. So I would expect better fuel economy if I'm gonna look at those wheels.
Right, it's got the whole like aero cover situation going on. No. You know, and the Camry doesn't have that, and it definitely gets closer to its EPA estimate. Anyways, with the slam dunk though, we're gonna say it's the cabin. This is really going to blow you away in terms of like the luxury and the features that you get. This one here is coming in at a very good price point. The Camry is going to cost like, for the equivalent features, probably $5,000 more than this. I mean, that is substantial price difference. When you can go feature to feature, it's just a really well done cabin.
Lastly, as far as your warranty, you do have a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain, a 3-year, 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance, and you do get a 5-year, 60,000-mile basic warranty. And let's also talk pricing. So this Sonata always represents a pretty good value for the midsize segment. That's going to continue. We start at $27,500 for the base model this year. Of course, as we move up the trim structure, it's going to get more expensive. You end in the limited hybrid, as you see today. $37,200 is your base price. When you add in the $11,500 destination and just the floor mats, $38,560 is what we're sitting at today, which I think is a pretty notable price for a fully loaded model like this, especially when you compare it to other rivals like the Toyota Camry, which will go well into the $40,000 plus range. And if you're looking to buy this Hyundai Sonata or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. We also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And now it's time for us to talk about potential resale value and reliability to make sure you are making a smart purchase. Now, first up, we'll talk about resale value. Now, as an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Hyundai Sonata's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth around 55.3% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 19.6%. Now, it's worth noting that is above industry average for resale value in the 5-year metric. However, it's still going to be quite a bit below the Japanese rivals such as Honda, Toyota, and those type of brands.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture of reliability. In this regard, Hyundai is rated just below the industry average of all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our reliability and resale value data, as well as our methodology, be sure to head to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be where we leave off on our 7-day extensive review of this refreshed 2024 Hyundai Sonata. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to be a part of our Car Confections family, you're also going to afford us more opportunities like this, where we can have this vehicle sent down to us and we can live with it for a full 7 days and provide you with all those impressions that you're looking for, such as real-world fuel economy. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.